A brief statement on impermanence and the practice of Phowa, written by Khenpo Karten Rinpoche. I would like to briefly share some excerpts from my teaching on impermanence. These are good reminders and explanations for those who are considering the practice of Phowa. Some of my students have brought up that this practice of Phowa is to be done at the time of death, and therefore ask, if I am youthful and in good health, is there really any benefit to practicing it when death seems so far away? Many people who meditate these days find it difficult. Their vitality and mental acuity may become disturbed or lessened because of illness, a lot of worries, or lack of sleep. So finally, they become interested in Buddhism and look for a teacher. If you really think about it, that's too late. Like if you wait too long about a physical ailment and finally go to the hospital, but it's too late. Similarly, our mind has been seriously sick with delusion for so long that it is very late for meditation. Even if we do meditate, our mind in that state can't develop perfect meditation. It's like a sick and exhausted person trying to climb a high mountain. The best time to meditate is when we are young, when our awareness is clear and we have all of our faculties intact. If we do, many of the sufferings of old age, like loneliness, mental problems, and so on, won't occur. This doesn't mean that when we are old, we don't have the ability to study and meditate. You really can do it at any age. It's never too late. If you compare the two, however, awareness is more bright and clear in our youth than in old age. I said what I said above in order to encourage those who are now young to avoid too much distraction from technology and cell phones and to take an interest in Dharma and meditation. Meditation on impermanence. Today, I will explain a special meditation. What meditation, you ask? About impermanence. I'm guessing that most of you will not like to hear what I have to say about impermanence. Why? Because no one wants to get old. No one wants to die. The impermanent nature of birth, aging, sickness, and death is not just some Buddhist tale. It is the actual situation that we all can see. We definitely have to accept it, even if we don't like it. The 4-line summary of Dharma is a summary of the entire Dharma. All that is compounded is impermanent. All that is contaminated is suffering. All phenomena are empty and selfless. Passing beyond sorrow is peace. If we can contemplate impermanence repeatedly on a regular basis, before long, we will be liberated from the chains of attachment, aversion, and dualistic perception, and the sun of happiness, freedom, and self-determination will quickly dawn without doubt. If we meditate on impermanence during our life, it reverses our clinging to permanence, and it weakens the delusions of attachment and aversion in our mind. Say someone has seriously broken the law. They are taken to court, they're found guilty, and sentenced to be executed in 3 months. When this is announced, what do they think? They may have been a very angry person before, but now they have second thoughts. Why is that? Now that they only have 3 months to live, delusions in their mind, like wanting to harm others, will naturally cease. For those 3 months, they become a good person, unlike before. Why would that happen? It's because they had a direct awareness of impermanence. Impermanence manifested for them as the antidote to clinging to permanence. If we are freed from grasping permanence, many harmful delusions will already be overcome, such as procrastination. Too many of us think, oh, I'll do it next year, next month, or I'll do it tomorrow. As long as we are free from disturbing delusions, we will have mental peace. Ultimately, if we are free from delusion, we will not accumulate bad karma. If we don't accumulate bad karma, we will have a good rebirth. Thus, meditation on impermanence bestows what we really want and need: happiness in this life and a fortunate rebirth. If we free ourselves from clinging to permanence, these two will be the result. If we meditate on impermanence at the time of death, we can die peacefully without fear and suffering. Impermanence is the real preparation for death, a death that is blissful, peaceful, and fearless. There is no way to postpone death, regardless of our status. Everyone has to take the path to death. Buddhist scriptures explain that death is naturally with us as soon as we are born from the womb of our mother. The time of our death is uncertain. There is no certainty of what may create the conditions for our death. At the time of death, nothing except sacred Dharma will be of benefit. If we contemplate death from now on, when death suddenly and forcefully arrives, we will have less fear and anxiety about it. Lord Milarepa said, "Frightened by death, I fled to the mountains, continuously meditating on uncertainty of the time of death. I reached the safety of primordial immortality. Now, I've lost my fear of death." Tibetan lamas don't always just sit and meditate in the monastery. They are asked to come to people's deathbeds and say prayers and dedications, and to perform Phowa, transference of consciousness. In particular, it was often the most urgent activity of my root guru, Sanjay Tenzin Rinpoche's schedule. He would go everywhere to people's bedsides to perform transference of consciousness. I have also been called to the hospital and people's deathbeds many, many times. At that time, I can tell whether a person has practiced Dharma or not. If they are a good Dharma practitioner, they have prepared for death beforehand, and they die very peacefully, without fear. The more someone has contemplated the holy Dharma, and especially impermanence, the less fear they will have. Someone who has never thought about Dharma or impermanence may be very tormented at the time of death and unable to die for a long time because they're afraid, crying out, "I don't want to die, don't let me die," frightening those around them as well. In any case, whether someone is a Buddhist practitioner or not makes a very big difference at death. This experience is validated by my own direct perception over many years of traveling to different countries. If we meditate on impermanence, it is the best spur to practice Buddha's teachings. Meditation on impermanence is primarily to motivate us to practice Dharma, not just to trouble and frighten us with the thought that we're going to die. No one wants to die, but there is no way we can prevent it. Since there's no place we can go to avoid death, we should try to do what we can to minimize fear at death and benefit future lives. For this, sacred Dharma is the only method. Our mind at the time of death is hundreds of times clearer than our present awareness. Any positive or negative mind we develop at that time is extremely powerful. It is important not to be attached to anything at the time of death. We really must not be attached to anything, not family, property, wealth, etc. Attachment can cause lengthy suffering in the intermediate state and a bad rebirth in the body of a preta or hungry ghost. If we are someone who accepts reincarnation, we must think about what will benefit future lives. If you think about it, nothing surpasses holy Dharma for this. Conclusion. This body is impermanent, like a water bubble. This speech is impermanent, like the sound of an echo. This mind is impermanent, like waves in water. Family is impermanent, like guests at a meeting. Controlled by their predisposition to the bad habit of grasping impermanent things as permanent, please bless my aged mothers who are endlessly wandering in samsara to realize impermanence in their minds. Though death gets closer and closer, proud of our youthfulness, we can't be sure we'll even be alive tomorrow. Still, we prepare to live hundreds of years, poor sentient beings like myself, wandering on such a mistaken, dangerous path, alas. We don't know when death will come. There is no certainty of what will cause it. Yet, we will definitely die. By contemplating such points, may we be freed from the ruinous darkness of clinging to permanence, and be nurtured by the light of the sun of holy Dharma. By its virtue, may the sword of wisdom realizing the certainty of death now chop to pieces the chains of grasping permanence in the minds of all sentient beings who believe they won't die for many years. And may they reach the safety of primordial immortality. Sarva Mangalam, Tashi Delex.